Welcome to another riveting episode of The Script is Better. Today we have read To Sleep with Anger. To Sleep with Anger. People are angry in this one.
Do we know who wrote this one? Who wrote this one?
We know who wrote this one, Beck. It was written by... It was directed by Charles Burnett. It was written by...
The same guy.
Charles Burnett. See? Go with your instincts. Go with your gut. It's always right. Yeah. And it stars, the big name in this is Danny Glover.
Yes.
Yeah. Who is also in such films as, was it The Loaded Weapons?
Lethal Weapons?
Yeah, Lethal Weapon film series. He's too old for this shit. He was in the Color Purple film, which I believe had Oprah.
And Whoopi?
And Whoopi. Definitely had Whoopi, right? It was directed by Steven Spielberg, which
that is true.
I did not know. Yeah, it had Whoopi Goldberg and Oprah Winfrey. Yeah, with I believe it's a slightly lesbian romance.
Really?
I believe so. I think.
Oh man, now we have to read it. I mean, I always wanted to. It's been on our list for a very long time. So, it just got bumped to the top of the list.
Okay, cool. I read the book, and so I believe in the book there is at least some lesbian overtones between the two. I hope I'm right, because if I'm just talking out of my ass, then I'm going to feel bad. But I think that's the case. Maybe that's not portrayed in the film. Who knows?
You're just gonna swipe through the script, being like, "Where is it? Where is it? Where is it?"
Yeah.
Not like a pervy way, but just I like those stories. Anyways,
no, you like diverse stories, and anyway, this Danny Glover was also in Predator 2. That's the one that I'm most familiar with him from, even though the Lethal Weapon series is probably a bit bigger. And then he's in Saw apparently too. I don't remember him being in Saw.
The first one?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. But Operation Dumbo Drop.
Oh my god, I forgot about that movie. I've seen that movie many times. It's a great movie.
Have I seen this? Was there one with who's the actress from Monster?
Charlize Theron?
Yeah, was there one with Charlize Theron? No, she played one with a gorilla, right?
The sign language gorilla?
Maybe, but it was a really big gorilla.
Oh, I don't know.
Okay. So many 90s films,
Yeah, about big animals.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I saw Operation Dumbo Drop as well, so good times. Okay, Beck, but here, let's get back to the
movie we're actually talking about.
Yeah, this happens too often, doesn't it? Yeah, so how did you like To Sleep with Anger?
I'm not gonna lie to you, I was confused by it, To Sleep with Anger, because I kept thinking it was something, and then realizing a few pages later that it was not that thing. So I had a hard time figuring out what it was until afterwards, when I was like, okay, I need somebody else to tell me. And I looked it up. So I would say I enjoyed the read because it kept me engaged, but I'm a little bit confused. So I was engaged for the wrong reason, I think. And the story on its own is really good, and it sucks that I was confused.
I mean, just the phrasing you use there. Can you be engaged for a wrong reason? As long as you're getting something out of it.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, but no, I get where you're coming from. I enjoyed the script. I enjoyed the read. I enjoyed the writing, the storytelling. I enjoyed the from my perspective. I didn't look anything up yet. I'm not sure if you have. What I got out of it was largely religious.
Yeah.
Okay.
So religion versus old age mysticism. So it's those two things battling each other, kind of thing.
I went all in on just the Bible.
Right? I thought that's what I thought too.
Yeah. And I get that there was old age mysticism in it,
but now that I say that, there are points in it that maybe come to mind for you, like when Gideon is in the bed and the priest comes in with the parish members, and there's herbal medicine things around him, and the priest is like, what are you doing? Prayer is enough, or prayer is better.
Right.
And then Hattie being from the old age kind of time, but now being fully religious and only in that vein and fully against anybody trying to tell her otherwise. So there were those two battling things. But I found that Harry himself showed up in elements of both. So,
I felt like he was like fully just a devil figure.
okay, yeah.
But also, I think that a lot of the, like, I could definitely see where this is coming from. And I think a lot of this makes sense in that a lot of mysticism and old age, like old myths and stuff like that, were used to form like the devil, the image of what we have as of the devil and hell in general. They were like co-opted and made evil in the Bible.
Okay.
Yeah.
So these myths predate the Bible and they just were okay, I see what you're saying. Adopted
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
Okay, cool,
exactly.
cool, cool, cool. Interesting.
Okay, what were your favorite parts then of this script, of this read?
The first scene I loved. Like the imagery and the language that was used in it was so rich and it painted such an interesting picture and it brought up so many questions and I was so intrigued. I was like, tell me what this means.
Hmm.
So I loved that and I am really excited to see what that looks like on screen. When it got to the next scene and it becomes apparent that it was a dream, I was like, oh man, boo. I wanted that to be real. So yeah, that was the favorite scene of mine. And in the rest of the script, I don't really have like a specific something else. Yeah, no, I don't have another like I would yeah, no. Nope.
Okay, like I'm gonna go with your yeah no's, and I think in a similar vein, I just liked that this was a religious script in some way, and spiritual. I just these stories are old, but I feel like with Mother, I feel like they have staying power for a reason, and they're powerful as a result. Like they go to like the core of brother against brother. There is good versus evil. There's like bad and good parenting. There's all these elements that are just so integral to who we are that we're all familiar and that we're all. I feel like that those are all part of religious stories, and when we see them, we relate to them so often. And so that's I think my favorite part of the script. That's what I'm really hoping that it comes across as well in the filming as it has in the script.
Right. Yeah, a lot of dichotomies in this for sure. Pulling
Yeah, and
against
I
each
just
other.
yeah, I just felt like Harry was the devil, Gideon was good force, Jesus or whatever, just a good guy. Then like Cain and Abel for the two brothers, Samuel and Junior, or Babe brother and Junior. And yeah, I don't know. There were just so many different things, right?
Hmm.
But yeah.
There was also imagery I felt in little clues that were put in the script, like when Harry is washing a cloth in a sink and it's just got water in it and he wrings it out, a reddish oil like liquid drips into the face bowl sink. And I was like, where did this reddish oil come from? Is that supposed to be blood? Is it rust? Like, what is this? So I just flagged that. And then I found the color red come back a few times in the script. And I was like, oh, interesting. Okay, so there was the use of that. And then the horn of the boy next door I found was
Mhm.
also a signal. It came in at very specific spots in the script. And oftentimes it was around Harry and things that like he was saying or doing that were possibly not so good.
Right. Harry was such an interesting character. But I would like to. I want to talk a bunch about Harry, but I also want to talk about the trumpets. The only,
Yeah.
just because it was so religion and spiritual heavy, I had to look up trumpets connected to the Bible, and the only thing I found were the seven trumpets that herald the apocalypse. And so,
Oh.
one thing I didn't do that maybe I should have was go through the script and count the amount of trumpets. Maybe there would have been seven. Uh,
Oh.
which would have been an interesting little thing. But maybe there wasn't. Maybe the trumpets mean something else in this. Uh, but I guess I mean, the apocalypse isn't necessarily supposed to be a bad thing in the Bible. It's supposed to be like a renewal and like a changing into like new things, like a new life kind of thing. And so when Harry dies, maybe their lives are going to be different and better in the end. And like in the end, Babe Brother comes to be hopefully a better person. I really think he just had excuses at the end, but
Absolutely.
So Harry, yeah, the red liquid. Harry was I really found interesting, and like everything just alluded to the devil or to the Antichrist to me. Uh, like the pipes rusting after he's there, or children kind of shying away from him, or Pat Junior's wife getting weird cramps anytime he's near, like she's pregnant. She
Yeah.
knows.
The reddish oil liquid though is specifically attached to the pipe rusting because Gideon
Mhm.
that day or the day prior had replaced that pipe so it's fully new, and then this reddish
Oh,
oil liquid goes into it and then it's rusted, and he's like, I just fixed this. How did this happen?
hmm.
Ooh, Harry's fucking with you.
Yeah, yeah. And you know, the entire time Harry comes off as this evil character, but towards the end, there's some sympathy for him from different people, from like Hattie in particular, who really
Yep.
hated Harry.
Yep.
Was he sending money to an ex-girlfriend that he had a child with, but the child maybe wasn't living anymore?
I'm not
Is that
sure. I would have missed that part if that was a thing. I know that he had a photo in his wallet, but
Mhm.
I wasn't fully sure of who it was.
Yeah. What do you think that sympathy for Harry at the end means in that case? Especially if we're talking maybe in context of your spiritual, the religion versus spirituality version of this.
I thought that it was a body jumping thing at first. Like I was like,
Oh, fallen.
Harry has come here to, because at the beginning they describe him as he's ageless and old, which I first of all didn't understand. It's like he's one or the other. But
Sure.
anyways, he does look more like younger and more youthful for his age than the other characters do, according to the script at least. And so I was like, maybe this is like how he stays that way. Like he is a spirit that jumps into different bodies. And so when Gideon had that like very quick turnaround and was like super hungry, I was like, that's because Harry's spirit jumped into his body and now he's good. And so I thought the sympathy for Harry was like people subconsciously knowing that Harry now is a good person because Harry, who is Gideon, who has died.
Well, okay, interesting. That I didn't get.
No,
But
for
maybe.
sure. Like it's like again, I was just like, this has got to be it. Like there were so many questions that I had, so I was like, I think this is what happened. I'm pretty sure. Like that explains this turnaround. And they're like, I was like, why? So yeah, it's definitely not explicitly written in the script, and possibly not in the story at all.
Okay, I did like a spirituality versus religion take on this because it could be read as people had turned their backs on their old spirituality and were focusing on religion instead. And you know how we if we change our minds about something, we can be bullheaded about it. We can only see the bad as a result.
Yeah.
And then maybe when in his death, they're like, oh, but there were good times. Maybe we were misguided in thinking that everything about our cast off spirituality was bad.
I like that. I like that.
It's interesting. I think Harry was a good character in the story. Do you have a favorite character?
I mean, I have a favorite character. It's like a hate thing. Like Babe Brother, I hate, but I'm just intrigued by that family. I'm intrigued by him and his wife and their child Sonny. He's so petulant and like he's the worst. Like doesn't want to work a day in his life, but I feel like there's so much juiciness there that I like seeing that.
Cool.
Yeah.
Similarly, I think Linda, Babe
Yep.
Brother's wife, was my favorite
Yep.
character. Partly because for one, I mean she gets the worst of it sometimes, like the black eye, but she doesn't take the crap, right? Like she when that happens, she's like, okay, I'm out, I'm gone, and she goes over to Junior's place. So I like that she stands up for herself in that way. But I also really liked because I very much read this script as religion. Gideon, good guy. Gideon, religion, positive Jesus. Harry, devil, antichrist. And so I liked that Linda was uncomfortable around both of them. She didn't like Harry. She really didn't want him to be around her or around their family. And she didn't like his corrupting influence on Babe Brother. But she also didn't feel comfortable around Gideon, the religious figure in my mind,
Right.
who who had judgments on their son, big brother, and probably had judgments on her, and so she would avoid like socializing with them completely.
I just liked her explanation for it too the first time it happens when she's just in the car and they're like, go get your wife. And he goes out and she's like, what? I don't like this that you talk about. I don't like this. I don't care about this. Like, what am I going to talk about? Why am I even in there? It's like, yes, girl. This
Yeah.
family doesn't care. Like, it just felt like this family doesn't care enough about me, learn about me. They only want to talk about the things that they know. So, like, if they're not going to learn about me, why do I need to learn about them, sort of thing? And I was like, yeah, stay away.
I So, not to demean Linda by comparing her to children, but her staying out of the family talk. And again, I'm going to shut up about the fact that I'm reading this all from a religious point of view. But the fact that Linda was standing out, it just reminded me of our own childhood when we would go up to our grandparents' house and you'd have all the adults go into the kitchen
Oh
and
my
they would
God.
sit down and they would just like talk. They probably talked
Bible.
politics a bit, but they would argue religion.
Yes.
Yeah. And then us as the children would go into the living room at our grandparents' house and would like select a movie, like Sister Act or something else that they
Yes.
VHS that they had, and would watch the movie while they talked religion in the other room.
Yeah. So this had to be told to me by you. I think Ann Chris has told me that as well separately because I was like too young, I think, to like really know that that's what was happening.
Although they were talking religion.
Yeah.
Okay, but you remember like being in the other room and like watching movies
Yes.
and stuff. Yeah, yeah,
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I remember being in the other room and then just like coming into the kitchen when it was like dinner's ready and be like, okay.
Yeah,
And I
yeah,
remember like going in there once or twice and sitting there and then being supremely bored and then just like running into the backyard or something.
yeah. I
To play
think
croquet. We used to play croquet.
yeah, yeah. They had croquet back there for sure. I think our mom was pretty bored with the talk too, but she would sit there.
She's Linda. Or we're
She's Linda,
Linda.
only she can't go hide out in the car.
Yeah.
So definitely, yeah, Linda, and you like that entire family, eh? Sunny
Yeah.
was a cool character. I
Yeah.
think I like the children in general, eh?
Yeah. Sunny and
Rhonda,
Rhonda.
Rhonda, Rhonda was Junior's child,
Hmm.
Junior and Pat's child, and they had another child on the way.
Yeah.
You know, going back to how this movie was kind of like threw some curveballs and led us in different directions. At the beginning, they had the scene with the police and the chickens, and like I'm thinking we're going into it. I'm like, okay, this is going to be largely about racial issues, and then that
For
never
sure.
came up again. I mean, maybe not when they go to the hospital. Maybe when they go to the veterans hospital.
I mean, not necessarily like black versus white or those
Mhm.
sort of racial issues, but actually there was that though, in just the story of like their history and like from working on the railroad, what's been ingrained in Gideon and Harry, and what
Right.
isn't there for the next generation. There, you could
Losing
see
some of their
that,
culture.
yeah, and that the history of their past and what they've been through and what their parents have been through is still very much a reality for them and still very much
Mhm.
weighing heavy on them. So I felt that that was absolutely there in every choice that they made.
That's fair. Yeah, and that's an interesting part because at the beginning of that police officer scene was specifically them trying to be like, you can't have chickens here anymore. We're getting complaints, and that's just like we've always had chickens. You can't stop us from raising chickens in the city.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really did feel sympathize with them in that scene too, specifically because like we have our own livelihood here. We can easily survive just on our own, and you're just like, nope, you can't do that anymore.
I know. And they're like, if you want to do this, you have to go further away from us, like further out from the city. It's like,
Yeah.
excuse you?
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
But that definitely happened.
yeah,
There was a time when you could just have chickens in the middle of downtown.
wild.
Not anymore. Yeah,
I knew
yeah.
there was a joke there. I was like, I'm waiting for it.
Do you think that Gideon was a veteran? Because he's brought to the veterans hospital, but I don't think they ever talk about him fighting in a war.
Interesting. I mean, I would just assume so. I would say that that is telling us that he was. But yeah, all we ever hear about is him working on the railroad.
It's true. Yeah, they
Could have
really
been
focused on
post-war.
that. I think Harry has a little bitterness towards Gideon, thinking that Gideon had it a little easier than him. Because at one point, Harry mentions how he basically implied that Gideon didn't have to do the hard work of actually like laying the railroad.
Yeah,
He
he
was like,
just sang.
he sang and conducted or something. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I think there's some bitterness there, even though Gideon only shows sympathy and love for Harry throughout the film.
Hmm.
It's interesting. We're really focusing on specific characters like Harry, Linda, the whole family. But I really think that the strength of this script is less in the events that happen and more in just like the characters.
Absolutely.
Oh, and Susie. Susie was a great other character, Gideon's wife, Susie.
Yes.
I mean, she's very much the like matronly character, even to the point where she brings life into the world by helping with childbirth,
Yeah.
which is really cool. And she's the matriarch of the family, and
But also like a worker.
but
Like,
also a
well, okay,
worker.
not to say that like raising a family is not working, but like I'm saying she's such a huge family figure in the like kind of stay at home sense of that,
Mhm.
but also in the sense that she's a midwife and she works in the garden. Like she is constantly working all the time and raising her son's child. Like
Yeah,
this person like does not stop working
yeah.
ever.
Not like raising Babe Brother's child, Sonny, but also helping out a lot with Rhonda as well.
Yeah.
Like they're both over a bunch. Rhonda not as much, but still such powerful characters. I think all around.
There was one line in this that like hit me really hard, especially at the moment when I read it. I was a little bit angry towards someone, and so when I read this line, I was like, oh, okay.
I wonder.
And like so much of Harry's language I hated because he mansplained a lot. But this was a line of his that I really loved, and he said, "You can't judge people by how you act. You're a caring person." I was
Oh,
like,
sure.
interesting. Yes, I feel like I need to write that down and just put it in front of me and just look at it every now and then. Whenever I get frustrated with somebody because they're not showing me like the same kindness that I am giving them, I just need to remember like you can't get mad at them. Like they're not you. They're gonna live their life the way they live their life, and there's certain things that they will afford you because it's polite, but not in all the same ways that you do. You're different people, and that's fine. I'm like, I need to check myself and not get so frustrated. I
Yeah,
really
for sure. That's
that
some
one.
good advice. He was talking to Pat at that time, right?
He was talking to Junior.
To Junior. Okay, so Pat's husband. So
Mhm.
probably like those scenes almost happened one after the other because I think after that or before that he goes to talk to Pat
Yes.
and like manipulates her a little bit into feeling bad about how much she's trying to do for the community.
Yes.
Yeah, like, oh, you're going out and you're helping, you're like giving food and helping out in those ways. But if you really wanted to help, you'd bring people into your house.
Yeah.
Very manipulative, eh? Yeah.
Totally. He's saying there's like a lot of bad people out there, but you should care about the people in your inner circle more or something like that too.
Yeah. Which,
Yeah.
it's interesting because I think there were a lot of talk, there's a lot of conversation about community in this. And in the end, community is what helps them. I do have a line that I liked, but I wanted to jump back to in terms of racism. There was the racism of refusing to come get Harry's body at the end as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, because it was in a colored neighborhood.
Yeah.
In terms of one of my favorite lines, I really liked, and, I think this one hit home as a judgment on myself more than as a solve as it was for you, your line. My line that I really liked, I think was also said by Harry, was they pride themselves in making life hard, and that's not my cup of tea.
Mm.
I really like that line because I think that I've done that. I think other people in my life that I've known have done that where you pride yourself on like taking the hard route, doing things on your own when you can get by much easier by just accepting help from other people. Yeah, I was surprised just looking at the Wikipedia page. I was expecting Danny Glover to be playing Gideon,
Yeah.
but yeah, and so I was
Me
picturing as I
too.
was reading the script, I'm like, Gideon's Danny Glover, so I have Danny Glover as Gideon the entire time, but
Totally.
he's
Me too.
Harry, which works.
Yeah. But you like I don't know because I don't know much of his filmography. I do remember Lethal Weapon, but I read that up until then he was not he didn't play a character like this. Like he was very much always the good guy. He was always the Gideon in the story.
Hmm.
And so
Hmm. So
this
this
like
was
showed, yeah, it showed like some range for him and gave him like such a meteor character to play. which was cool. And it got snubbed for Oscars and shouldn't have, according
Well,
to many people.
no. I mean, just looking at the ratings, it gets like 80s in like Rotten Tomatoes and stuff. The only one who
Yeah,
seemed to have a problem with it was Roger
Roger
Ebert. So
Ebert. Yeah,
for being so famous, I think a lot of people find Roger Ebert kind of a hack. Not to
I
speak ill of
I
the
don't know
dead.
much of that, but yeah, I could see that. It's all about
Yeah.
Siskel.
No, yeah, of course. I'm always more of a fan of the taller person. So,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, is there anything else specifically, maybe about a scene or about any other characters or anything else that you want to talk about for this script?
So Babe Brother is with Harry and MC and I think Okra, and Harry has told them that they're all going to leave and has proposed to him that he should come with them because they're going to go like make money by playing cards and that sort of thing, and they're just going to leave the town and he should just desert his family. And to convince him, they play a game and Babe Brother just like wins the whole time. So cool. So like look at I feel as if that's Harry manipulating the situation to be like, look at how much money you made in such a short amount of time. You should come with us. So, yeah, I very much feel that that was orchestrated. But then Big Brother leaves to go, we don't know yet, possibly to go tell his family that he's leaving or to go get his stuff. We just know that he leaves. And then it says, Harry sits at the table, tapping out a rhythm on the table and whistling very softly to himself. Suddenly, Harry sees that Babe Brother left the pile of money on the table. A
Hmm.
look of concern comes over his face. And for me, that meant that from that moment, Babe Brother had decided, I'm not going with you because clearly I've left the money because I don't care about the money. My family means more to me. And that's why the look of concern comes over his face. But then in
Yeah,
the next scene, Babe Brother is like, bye, y'all. I'm leaving with Harry.
yeah. I want my suitcase.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
So I felt like it came, maybe it was just like a little bit of foreshadowing, like
it was
because
weird.
because you're reading it, like this look of concern means something, but maybe on screen it'll play a little bit less obvious. But yeah, I was like, we already know he's not going to go with them because of what you just told me about the last scene. So yeah, I wasn't sure if that was trying to tell me something different that I just didn't understand.
I think that was a feeling in the right. That's the way I read it too, and it
Okay.
felt weird. But maybe it's just supposed to be another trying to look at the conflict within Babe Brothers some more. Maybe it's not as simple as he makes a decision.
True.
There's always going to be some doubt.
Well, I'm excited to watch this movie.
But yeah, let's go watch it and let's get back here and let's talk about it.
Sounds good.
All right, so for this week's mid-episode break, I just wanted to talk to you about theater closures and also kind of make it a little more time. Let's talk about streaming a little bit, streaming versus going to the theater, because I think we both enjoy going to movies. I watch more movies at home, but I think I enjoy the experience of being at the theater a lot more. And so I just wanted to talk to you, like we just learned that theaters in Toronto are going to be closed again because of the pandemic and things ramping up again. So I want to hear your thoughts on that.
I think it's so sad. I mean, in terms of everybody's safety, I'm on board with any protocols that they put into place. I'm fully about it. I'm happy to follow all of the rules. I just live. I just live for the theater, like VIP movies. I always list it as my favorite thing to do. So yeah, I'm sad that it's further away again, and I'm mad at Toronto people who are not following the rules and making it suck for everyone else.
Yeah, I think it's not only Toronto people, right? People across the world are having issues. Yeah, it's gonna kind of suck. I hadn't gone to a theater since the reopenings.
Oh no?
Uh, no, I haven't. You know, I live in Ottawa, and so it's a little harder to get people just to go out to the theater, I think. But at the same time, it would be fun just to go on your own too. So yeah, I'm disappointed. I do watch a lot of movies just on my computer. I've always found that's been an enjoyable experience. I actually saw an article the other day that Disney is pumping more focus and funds into streaming services, which isn't a surprise considering the state of affairs that they would be refocusing that direction. If more movies came directly to streaming even after the pandemic was ended, do you think that would be a good thing for the industry in general, or would you be disappointed?
I would so be disappointed. I mean, I bought a projector in the first month
Oh,
of the pandemic, or at least in the first month of lockdown in Toronto,
hmm.
because I was like, I'm missing theaters too much. So yeah, so for a while it was on my ceiling, and now I've cleared a space and a wall in the living room, and that's how we watch movies. It's the only way to go. I freaking love it. But I think that if movies went straight to streamers, prices of everything would go up, and then there'd be an accessibility issue, and so it would only be the people who have money that are able to watch these movies, and then reviews and like audience perception of the movies would be only like middle to upper
Hmm.
class people's opinions, and
Sure.
that's not an accurate view of how good a movie is. And so I would hate for it, especially like it was a big hot button issue that Mulan was released, and it was like an extra $35 on top of, or in Canada it
That's a
was on
lot.
top of what the $10 monthly Disney fee. And so
Hmm.
if that is the standard, if that's the bar that's going to be set, then like screw it. I can't. It can't
Couldn't do it.
it can't be more expensive than going to the theater. Like you're literally just
Honestly.
like uploading it to the internet. Like if $13 is the theater price, then if it's just coming out, then go for like $8 to $10, not on top of like the fee, but also
I
just
think
don't
they're
an extra fee.
I think what their thought is that they're not expecting you to be watching it alone. I mean, if you're watching it alone, then great. If they can get as many people as they can to buy this individually, then great. But I think they're pricing it at a point where they're expecting like a family is going to pay for this, and so it'd be cheaper to it's still going to be cheaper because like three, potentially even four people are going to watch this at once in one place. I still don't like it. I don't think I'm not willing to pay that extra. I just pay for Netflix, and that's the sum total I'm willing to do. I'm not willing to pay anything extra. If Netflix started doing the same thing, no, thank you. If they started charging extra like that, then I think we'd have the same problem that we had in the early 2000s. I really do think that the problem with the industry is when you don't make it accessible. And if there's more streaming services that start doing that, then people are going to kind of buck against that, and they're going to start streaming stuff illegally more often. Like more people are going to do that because they just want access to these things. They're willing to pay for it, but they're not willing to be gouged for it.
For sure. I mean,
Mhm.
even with Netflix, they just raised their prices too. Are you okay with the new price?
I haven't been looking into it, so we'll
Mm,
see. Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. Everything's going to go up with inflation. It makes sense, but at the same time, like, come
I mean,
on.
you always hear, I'm no expert on inflation, but I mean, like prices can't just always be going up, right? Like,
Well, every time they print money, it does,
sure.
right?
But when your actual paycheck doesn't get bigger and prices keep
True,
increasing,
true.
like I know that they're trying to raise minimum wage in a lot of places in the U.S. and Ontario raised minimum wage over a number of years recently. So are they up to 15 yet, or are they like working their way up there?
They went to 14 and it was supposed to go up a dollar more, but then the woman whose name I forget, who was the premier of Ontario, was like voted out, and so they stopped it.
Right. Oh, well, there you go. I guess we'll just have inflation without any accompanying increase in pay, and no one will be able to afford anything, which is great.
Yay!
So, doomsday scenario in this mid-episode question.
Yes.
I guess we should go back to the episode then.
Yes.
All right, later. And now we're back with some more To Sleep with Anger. This time we're talking about the film. We've talked about the script. We're on to the film. Beck, what do you think about To Sleep with Anger, the film?
I liked the film. Yeah, it for me it was the script, and it was equally enjoyable. I don't know if it's a spoiler, but I don't. For me, I can't really choose which one I liked more necessarily. They're
Hmm.
both just really enjoyable, and I think the message that I wanted from the script came across on screen really nicely.
What message specifically?
Just dichotomy, the juxtaposition of like opposites I found was very clear. Like religion versus mysticism, good versus bad, old versus new, that sort of thing. You could very much see it in the relationships between the people.
Interesting. Okay, cool. I don't think I got the same value out of the film as you did.
Okay.
I did enjoy the film, but I think the film for me was strongest when it was just the family. When it was the family and and looking at their relationships and their struggles together, I really, really enjoyed the acting at that point. I found that all the Harry moments just fell flat for me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I found him the least interesting and just that whole aspect uninteresting. But all the main characters beyond Harry, their interactions and their family struggles and the good moments in their family, those were all very interesting to me. I found those were the best acted moments.
But on the page, you found Harry interesting?
On the page, I definitely found Harry interesting. I found that the dichotomy more interesting, the struggle between good and evil much more interesting. In the film, I just didn't. I was like, I don't care. I really just want more of the family.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's about Danny Glover's performance then.
Maybe. I think it just maybe even in the direction, I don't think it felt as exciting for me as it did in the script.
Right.
But that doesn't mean I didn't like this film. I did enjoy the film because I think that acting just was to such a level and those moments were to such a level that I think the film overall was really good.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. So what are some key moments in the film that you really liked, Beck?
The thing I liked the most was finding all the clues. Because we had the luxury of reading the script first, we knew that there was a lot of clues as to what happened because we knew where the story was going. So I found that in watching the film, I really enjoyed noticing right from the beginning all of the seeds that were placed. And Charles Burnett gave you so many clues constantly throughout the whole thing of what was going on. And I loved that.
Okay, yeah, the clues as to like the religious aspects and the mysticism.
Yeah. Like there were some tropes in it for sure, like film tropes, like a gust of wind knocks over this broom. You know, a gust of wind is normally a bad omen. Something dangerous is going to be coming. But
no one likes wind, right?
No, nobody likes wind.
It's always bad.
Jeez. But yeah, I liked those things. So finding all of them, the ones that I missed in the script, I really enjoyed that. Yeah, what did you like?
What did I like about them? Again, just the performances. There was one actor that I recognized that I hadn't realized was in the film. Richard Brooks. Richard Brooks plays the Babe brother. He plays Babe brother, and I recognized him from Firefly. The last episode of Firefly, the Joss Whedon TV show, he played a bounty hunter, and that is probably one of the best episodes of television I've ever seen. So
that's so niche.
It is very niche.
In one episode of a TV show, he played a bounty hunter. Wow.
You know what? The funny thing is, if you go to his Wikipedia page, it says most known for bounty hunter Jubal Early in Firefly.
Wow.
So it's not just me.
Right.
But he's had a lot of roles over the years, and so that was a great find there. I really liked. I think I liked the entire family. I liked Junior. I liked Junior's acting. I felt that he was intense in a lot of ways. It's just in his annoyance, like anger at his brother. But I really liked those moments when he was kind near the end with his brother, when he was joking around with him, and they were kind of getting along again. You could see a great family dynamic there.
Yeah, I found the relationships in the family like so believable, that just the chemistry between them, like you saw this family and it was them, it wasn't actors. I thought that was really cool as well.
Yeah, it really made me, watching the film, it made me really wonder why Linda is with Babe. Because Babe does shit all. He's such a bad husband in every way.
Yeah, he does not seem to have very many redeeming qualities. And she's so strong. Like, even without the person that she's playing, it's just like she has such a presence, a commanding presence. You're like, this woman, watch out. Yeah. For
sure. I found her, I really liked Pat too. Like, I liked both Pat and Linda. Susie was great too, but those two, oh my God, they were beautiful. They were strong. They were amazing in those roles. I liked them. And yeah, so she's like, Linda's like cooking all the time. She's rushing off to work. At one point, I don't think this was in a script, but Babe brother says that he's a loan officer.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think in the script they ever mentioned that he has a job, but it seems like he doesn't do anything because she has to get him out of bed, and he's just like lazy and sitting around the house. and he's like yelling at her for her not taking care of Sonny's shoes when he doesn't do shit at all.
That
It's
was
just
wild. Yeah. And she takes it.
totally. This just brings me to a moment though I do like at the end when they're kind of coming back together and they're sitting around and Babe Brothers giving all of his excuses for why he was such an asshole, even though it seems like he's kind of a deadbeat husband and father in general, even when Harry's not there, under the not influenced by evil.
Yeah.
I like that every time he gives an excuse, she pulls his chest hair and she starts apologizing. That was probably one of my favorite scenes in the film. And she'd be like, "Oh, I'm sorry, babe. I'm sorry. Oh, no, it's okay. I'm sorry. I'm sorry." And then he gives another excuse, pulls some more chest hair. So did you like Danny Glover's performance?
Yeah, I did. I hadn't seen him in anything like this. We talked about that before because from the interviews it said this was something different for him. Yeah, and I just agreed with that. It was something different for him, and I really enjoyed what he did with the character. There were times when I kind of wanted him to be a little bit more devil-esque because in the film adaptation it seemed like it could have all been coincidence, but I wanted it to not be coincidence. So I wanted there to be a little bit more like puppeteering. And I think the most time that you saw that was when he was inviting all those people to the house, but they seemed to welcome it. It didn't seem to be done without their permission. And then, forcing those walks on Gideon and Big Brother, like taking them on walks that were longer than what they were capable of.
Yeah. In the script, I think Gideon just wakes up after the party and he's sick.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. In the film, they seem to make it very clear that he gets sick because Harry forces him to go on a long walk.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's no talk about malaria, which is apparently something that Gideon had before and what Susie thinks he's recovering from again. It's like he just gets like this sometimes, he gets sick. And so this is not unusual. In the film, it's just like he just got sick and no one knows why.
Yeah.
Yeah. I felt they took a couple of things out that maybe weren't needed necessarily, like the Veterans Hospital. It was never mentioned that was a Veterans Hospital. So that takes a little bit of Gideon's backstory away.
Mm-hmm.
He just goes to just like a regular hospital. He gets treated and then they're like sent home. Do you spot any other differences in this?
I really didn't. It really seemed like what we were seeing was what was on the page, apart from that small difference where I was like, I read into the script that it was more puppeteering, but in the film it kind of just seemed like a lot of coincidence.
For me, I did notice there were like a few things, and I think it's mostly things that were taken out, like the cops. The cops were removed completely.
Oh, at the beginning.
Yes.
Right, about the chickens.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's just completely removed, which I think makes sense to me because it definitely is a scene that works, but I think it works in a different movie because this movie isn't a movie that focuses on white and black racial issues. It focuses mostly on like good and evil and culture and things like that. Now, like the major point of racism is still people won't come to pick up the body at the end.
And also Harry's mention of you had to know your manners, where we're from. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Please, and that sort of thing. It was very much like, I would say, a nod to like what was left over from before the Civil War.
Sure. Yeah. Do you know, did they mention what year this was set in?
No, but I think it's just modern times. I mean, the film came out in 1990. I think it's very much that time, especially based on the fashion.
That's fair. Yeah. Cool. Yeah, they also removed the rusting pipe bit.
Yeah? Okay, yeah.
Yeah, he never has to fix that pipe after Harry uses it.
Right. But you do see the red liquid going down it, don't you? Or no?
Maybe. I don't think you even see red liquid. See,
I have that image in my head, but maybe it's just because I'm projecting it from what I read.
Maybe. I think they definitely show him like washing his face, but I don't think there's any red liquid necessarily.
Okay.
I feel like there were some bits of like this whole bit about Gideon getting sick right after the party and these rusting pipes. I think that some of like the natural corruptive presence of Harry being there is kind of removed because of that. Yeah. Right. Like it really seems like just from the fact in the script, just from the fact of Harry being in a place, things are degrading and rusting and being destroyed, but that's not the case in the film. Okay, Harry's first interaction with Hattie really threw me off a little bit. Like it was very creepy for me, the way Harry was acting. I think that was very, to give it like the most generous interpretation, like very bad at flirting.
Okay.
Yeah, very demeaning towards her and her path in life and her, growing or changing as a person, and very like all over her and trying to they've had a relationship in the past. Maybe I don't know.
They might have. I mean, if not today, but if somebody knew me as to be in the past like a prostitute, which I think is kind of what they're saying that she was, maybe not a prostitute, but definitely somebody who slept around, was generous with her body, let's say.
Right. Yeah.
If somebody knew me like that and they saw me, 15, 20, 30 years later,
Hmm.
I feel as if they would probably address me in the dynamic that they knew me as at the beginning. So I'm like
Sure.
forgiving of that. Though, yeah, today, definitely respect. But for the generation that it was, I'm like, okay, well, yeah, I can see how that happened. And that's like a real depiction of what it was like.
Yeah. No, that's fair.
Yeah. Yeah, there was a thing in the script that I didn't fully understand. And it was when Harry first arrives and Sonny puts the broom on his shoe and he's like, "Don't do that, son. That's bad luck."
Yeah.
And he gets mad at him. And I was like, "Why is this bad luck?" So I looked into broom lore.
Ooh,
There's-
broom lore.
Yeah.
That must have been a few hours of reading through Wikipedia and articles.
Yeah. So if someone is sweeping the floor and sweep over your feet,
Yeah.
you'll never get married.
Oh, well, I think Harry's a little old anyway.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
And then, but there's more. So while you are sweeping near the front door, if the broom drops, be expecting company before the day is through. So the gust of wind blows the broom and they're not sweeping, but a broom falling is kind of a company is going to be coming. So I thought that was cool that was in there as well.
Oh, that was
And
okay. I
then,
didn't notice.
yeah. And then flipping a broom upside down is supposed to mean that you're going to get married soon. So what happens is Sonny sweeps the broom over his foot. It's bad luck. You're never going to get married. And then Harry immediately flips the broom upside down and spits on the bristles. It's like, oh, no, I am going to get married sort of thing.
Yeah.
Which I thought was cool. He like counteracts it right away. There's so much broom lore though. Like obviously those are like silly things, but there's random things that aren't in the movie. It's like you can't sweep on New Year's Day because if you do, you'll have bad luck all year. But if you do decide to sweep on New Year's Day, burn the pile of sweepings because then you'll make sure that you have money all year long.
So you should sweep on New Year's Day
Yeah.
and burn it so you can get money, right?
You're going to have bad luck. But if you forgot about the bad luck, then at least burn the pile so that you'll have money fortune, but bad luck in other ways, I guess.
Okay, interesting.
If a wife sweeps a circle around her husband, it will keep him eternally true to her.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. If you don't want your man to cheat, just sweep around him.
Yeah, and what if the man's trying to like stop her from sweeping around you? That's just gonna tell you about his character, right?
Totally.
Yeah. I mean, it'll show you that he believes in voodoo too,
Yeah.
at the very least.
Right.
I did like how Harry, near the end of the film, he's afraid to come into the washroom because he sees Sonny sweeping again. And he has to wait until Sonny sweeps into another room. Then he sneaks out of the washroom and runs downstairs.
So much broom lore.
This film was just all about the broom lore. Okay, do you think there was anything missing from the movie?
Magic. I wanted magic.
Ooh, magic. Like what kind of magic? Like more
Like,
voodoo,
just-
like the broom
yeah,
lore?
Yeah. I just wanted Harry to be the devil.
Right. If you see the actual poster for the film, he's got this creepy smile. Yeah. It really feels, like he's gonna do something. Like he's gonna like make some bets for your soul, right?
Totally.
In the film, I really felt like, even more than in the book, I felt like he was just like a lonely old man.
Yeah, just a lonely guy. I was watching an interview and the woman who played Linda, Cheryl Lee, she was saying that Harry is just a very unhappy man and unhappy people always try to make everyone around them unhappy as well. And I was like, yeah, that is him in a nutshell in the film, at least, for sure.
Totally. Very true. For me, I think I would have liked some more magic as well. That would have been interesting. I think it would have taken the film in a different direction, but it would have been a more interesting direction at some points.
Yeah. I know we've moved on from broom lore, but there's also some plate lore that I wanted to bring up because another part in the script that I didn't understand was that Harry had a plate next to him while he slept. It was just like a saucer. And
in the script, he had it like in front of his bed. by his bed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he slept on the floor, so it was just kind of like next to him. And in the script, there was water in it. The plate is there in the film too. They don't really draw attention to it. It's just randomly next to him. And I was like, what is this about? So, because in the script they first mentioned the plate and that there's water in it, I found that you should never have a cup of water next to your bed because not only does it collect like dust particles from the air, but also it collects bad energy because water can be imbibed with anything that's around it. So all the bad energy and the negative spirits that are in the air can go into the water. So I was like, maybe this plate with water is collecting bad spirits so that they don't get into Harry. That was the only thing that I could think of for why you would have a plate of water next to you. Yeah. Or he wanted to lap it up like a dog. But no. I
don't think that ever happened.
No. He's a real cool guy that just was sad and liked plates.
You could be right about the plate lore. And the liquid stopping, it's collecting evil, you're saying, so that doesn't get to you?
Yes.
I mean, that could be true. You see at one point, he brings like a chicken broth that he had made. Chicken soup, I think it's supposed to be, but it's got like no chicken in it, and puts it beside Gideon's bed when Gideon's sick. And maybe that's actually a friendly note. Maybe that's him not trying to feed Gideon, but trying to ward off evil.
Yeah. Like, don't drink this chicken soup, but it's here to collect bad evil.
So what happens in the lore, if the water at the bottom of your bed collects all this evil, if you drink that later, would you then get all the evil inside of you?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
And so you'd want to like collect that and then feed that to your enemies.
I guess so. No, you can have the special water.
From our aquifer.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Who was sleeping with anger?
Probably Harry.
Okay.
Like, it depends on how you think of sleeping, like having sex with, or do you think it means just like holding it in? Like, when I think to sleep with anger, I think he's going to sleep with anger. Like it's inside of him, eroding his soul and his life.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I was thinking of it as well. Mm-hmm. I thought like in a literal sense, the only person that's like sleeping is Gideon. So I was like, he's not an angry guy. He's a really happy guy. So I was thinking like Linda is angry and Pat's baby, but I really couldn't come up with where the title came from. So obviously you got that one better than I did. Harry.
I mean, that's a guess, right? That's a guess. I think my last note that I've got is just being the only negative thing I have to say against Linda is when she scolded Sunny for leaving the marbles lying around when it was her who knocked over the marble tin.
Right.
Yeah, which led to Harry's death. I was like, that's your fault, Linda. Don't blame your child.
Yeah. I feel like that's such like a real like parent response though.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. I fucked up. You should not be doing this.
Yeah. Absolutely. So true.
Yeah. Do you have anything else to say about To Sleep with Anger? Or room lore?
Yeah. No more lore necessarily. Nope. Kind of. Just that we had talked a little bit in the script portion that a main theme was mysticism versus religion. And I found in the film that I didn't get from the script, but it's probably in the script as well, is that there are actually like kind of 4 ways of those two things in that, you know, Harry and his camp really represented the old school way of thinking, the mysticism and that sort of stuff. Gideon and Susie represented both mysticism and religion because they used the sort of old school medicines, but then also went to church every Sunday. Mm-hmm. Hattie, I found, was very much of just religion, and she shunned kind of everything else. And then Babe Brother and Linda was like, I want none of either of it. Like, don't talk to me about the almanac, and also we're not going to church. So there was like the 4 kind of different ways of having a relationship with those two things. And I liked that every voice was represented.
Yeah, diversity in beliefs.
Yeah. Oh, I have one more comment. Just that at the beginning of the film, the very well-dressed man that is on fire is Gideon, and I thought it was Harry. I thought that the first image of the man who's, very well-dressed, like I said.
The dream?
And, the dream. I thought that was Harry, and I thought it was like an omen saying that the devil is coming and the devil is Harry, and that sort of thing. But it was Gideon who's on fire. And when you never really see Gideon well dressed, so apart from that scene, so I wasn't sure what that part of it was, and I was like, why is he on fire? He's not a bad omen. I thought it was Harry because the devil is okay with things that are bad and is associated with fire and is comfortable around fire. Gideon is on fire and is so relaxed, and I thought that he wouldn't be. So yeah, I was a little bit more confused by what the first image meant.
Okay, I definitely knew that it was Gideon in the script.
Okay.
I think like it's the same thing that you were saying though. It's that it's an omen that something bad is happening. Like I don't know what the exact meaning is, but probably like your whole house is on fire and you can't really do anything about it. Just be careful, I guess.
Right.
Okay, my last thing, I just want to mention the Tobys. I don't know what a Toby is. I think it's just a good luck charm, but I just like that both Gideon and Harry had lost theirs at one point. Gideon
Yes.
just recently and Harry when he was younger.
Yes. It's a good luck charm that your parents teach you how to make. So they said,
Hmm.
yeah, they both lost theirs. And Harry says that you don't want to be at a crossroads without one. It's like,
Yeah,
oh,
so
interesting. You're
yeah,
both at a crossroads.
yeah. Is the rabbit's foot then a replacement for the good luck charm? Like, is it a Toby as well? Or I don't understand why he couldn't just make a new Toby.
Maybe because it's something that you do with your parents. If your
Hmm.
parents are no longer around, then you don't.
Man, that's high stakes. You lose a Toby, then you're fucked for life.
Yeah.
Yeah, poor Harry.
Poor Harry.
And poor Gideon now. Like I hope he finds his Toby.
I mean, he clearly doesn't need one because he conquered the danger.
And he
Harry
believes in Jesus.
needed something stronger. Yeah, and he believes in Jesus. Harry needed something stronger than just mysticism and a rabbit's foot.
Yeah, sure. Okay, that was my last note.
Dun, dun,
Beck,
dun.
what did you like better, the film or the script?
I really like them both, but I'm gonna go with the script.
Awesome. Oh, wait, interesting. I thought you had decided at the beginning that you were like the film better. What
No,
happened?
I really like them both. The performances were
Okay.
great. It was really, really great. I don't know. I really like them both. I said at the beginning that it was hard for me to choose, and I think the only reason I'm choosing script right now is because like it had the magic that I wanted.
Yeah, that little magic. Okay, cool. Awesome. I also liked the script better. I think it had more magic. I think there was something in there that was missing from the film, but though that acting was so great in the film. Except for the kids like laughing at the trumpet player. I thought that acting like that's so forced, kids.
The trumpet player. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, Beck, what are we going to read next time?
We're gonna read Boys Don't Cry.
Okay, I don't know anything about Boys Don't Cry. I assume that there will be some boys who will cry at some point.
Ooh. Hold on to that thought. That's great that you just said that for anyone who knows what this film is. I'm excited. There may be boys who cry, or there may not be boys who cry.
Look, if you have a bold title like Boys Don't Cry, you know there's going to be some boys crying.
Perhaps.
Perhaps. That's just my assessment. I honestly don't know anything about this, but
Great. All right. Let's get to
great.
it.